Hi Libra, happy birthday and welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your October 2022 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who like, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic Cross spread as always, and also pulled the 4 agreements, Wisdom, the Oracle, and Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. So let's see what we get. Alright, so we have 1. So, not surprising that for your birthday season, we see first house come up for you guys. And of course, first house could point to personality and self awareness. And naturally, we're going to have Mercury moving through your sign for around the second half of the month. After it finally wraps up the retrograde and everything, we're going to have Venus in there for a few weeks as well, and obviously the Sun. So, plenty of activity going on during October in Libra. All right, we have Aquarius, and Aquarius for you guys is 5th house, which can point to romance, creativity, children, and we have Saturn there. It's going to wrap up its retrograde around the 3rd week of October. And we have Uranus, and Uranus is actually in Taurus, which is your 8th house, which can point to death, rebirth, intimacy, investments. It's been there for quite some time, but yeah. With all that out of the way, we'll get started with the main spread now. All right. In the main situation position, we have the 7 of Pentacles, so we see Taurus energy there, and then challenging that, we have the Ace of Swords. So really the way I'm seeing this is your mind could be so focused on something, possibly the more tangible, right, that it's blocking your thought process in some way. That's primarily what I'm getting there. So to give you a practical example, right, you ever have one of those situations where someone says something to you, but you're just so focused thinking about something else that you don't even really hear them, and you kind of ask them to repeat themselves, right? That's kind of what I'm getting there, to where you're so heavily focused on one area of life that there could be these insights trying to come through to you, but they're kind of blocked because your mind is just so heavily focused on that one thing. So given that this is 8th house matters, right, let's just give you like an investment example. So let's say you invested in something and initially the growth around it was very good, right? And now all of a sudden, maybe the growth isn't where it once was. And you could be questioning, well, what do I do, right? I got accustomed to a growth rate like this, and now the growth rate is much slower. So what should I do, right? So you could be just really racking your brain around that. And then that could be saying that, hey, this is blocking you from potentially getting an idea of exactly what you could do, right? Because you're just so bogged down in that singular focus. Now, this could be your time, actual money, right? Or just your energy. But yeah, it looks like something that had a better return on investment of whatever resource you're referring to doesn't seem to have as good of a return now, and you could be questioning that, right? So even if this was literally around farming, you could talk to a farmer and say, oh, we got much better crops last year because this year there's been a lot more drought, right? So we're not getting the same from our crops as we did the year before, so there's plenty of ways that could be playing out, but that's the general theme that I see there. All right. In the foundation position, we have the 9 of Wands. And funny enough, to see this here, this is Sagittarius energy, which for you guys is your 3rd house communication. So the way I'm seeing this is almost like maybe you've already gotten so many different opinions on the situation, right? And that could be where you feel blocked. Like, okay, I've already looked at 30 different sources of what to do in this situation, but I'm not quite sure which way to go, right? So you could be feeling a little bit overwhelmed with that. But yeah, and this could just be saying that this is something that you've really put a lot of energy into as well. So, and maybe you're a bit scattered with that too, right? And that could be part of where the difficulty is. So you're like, all right, well, how do I even move something from one spot to another at this point, right? So there could just be a feeling of just being stuck in a situation right now. All right. In the past position, we have the Knight of Cups. So this is Pisces energy here. So, all right, let's just use another example here. Again, that for you guys, Pisces energy is your house of work and daily routines, right? So you apply for a job, it has this job description, maybe it sounds not even glamorous, right? But it sounds like it'd be a comfortable job that you could really get used to right now. You get the job, and now in the day-to-day, the workload's a lot more than you expected, right? Or just you don't feel like you have this level of support that you once did, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, naturally, like let's say if you have some exotic resort somewhere and they have an advertisement for the resort, they're going to show you the sunniest day, right, with perfect weather. They're not going to show you the huge bugs flying around or the rainy days, right? They're going to try to present to you the best of what they have to offer, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that those rainy days don't exist, or on the flip side, that the sunny days don't either, but it could just be one of those situations, right, where you were presented one thing, the best of something, but now you're seeing the ugly side of that same situation. And that could be what that Ace of Swords is even pointing right to, that situation, which is to say, hey, you're not wrong for thinking, hey, what's going on? This was going great for a while, right? Yes, it still has the opportunity to be that, but there's also this other side of it, right? All right, present position, we have the Four of Swords. So this is Libra energy here, of course, and could just represent you guys actually doing some healing around the situation, right? Maybe you finally do find a way to detach yourself from just overthinking it and take that time to process whatever insight you did get around the situation. All right, in the near future position, we have the Nine of Cups. So more Pisces energy here. And if nothing else, this could say that now, all right, whatever the situation is, if nothing else, maybe now it did show you truly what you do want, right? Now, maybe you said, okay, I jumped into this thing in the past thinking that this was what I wanted. Now I see the reality isn't exactly that at all times, right? So now maybe that at least gave you a more firm idea of, okay, this is absolutely what I want now. And now it could just be a matter of, okay, well, that's good, but now it's a matter of getting there, right? So that's what I see with that. All right. And the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Three of Wands. So yeah, at the very least, this looks like you haven't necessarily lost hope, right? That whatever this is that you have been putting your time, money, energy, whatever, maybe all the above into, right, will pay off for you. Because to me, that's usually what this energy represents, right? We often refer to it as the waiting for your ships to come in energy. And what I will say is interesting is we're actually going to have a full moon in Aries. So again, we see the Aries energy there. That's going to be pretty much conjunct Chiron. So that's going to be kind of an intense full moon there. So maybe that could give you some insight around the situation as well. All right. In the environment position, we have the Seven of Wands. So this is Leo energy here. And yeah, again, almost like we see with the Seven of Pentacles, I get the same type of energy here, right? So this is the card right after the Six of Wands, right? Where a person's being celebrated, right? Looks like they're doing a victory lap. And now this is what comes after that, right? Like, okay, yes, now you're at the number one spot, but now you're going to have everyone coming for that number one spot, right? So it's kind of the realization of after the fact, what happens, right? Like, okay, you get to that level, now what? So that could be what's coming up for you guys here. And of course, this could represent someone else's energy too, where maybe they're feeling very guarded and they don't want to necessarily give around something either, right? So if this was some kind of a partnership, let's say, right, then that could be where the blockage is there, right? Where maybe the person was giving more to the situation in the past than they are now. So that could be what that's pointing to. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Hierophant. So we do see 8th house energy here. And like I said, of course, you guys got that technically with the Uranus energy as well. But yeah, this could just be saying that for some of you are hoping for stability, right? So again, like we said, 8th house energy, in the sense I'm thinking of it more along the line of investment, right? So when we hear investment, we often tend to think immediately of finances. But again, like I said, that could be your time, your energy, your money, any of that. So I feel like this is you hoping for more stability there, right? So maybe in the beginning you might have liked the volatility when it was going well, right? Like, oh, this is awesome. This is growing really quickly. Everything's awesome. And now that you hit that low cycle, you're like, oh, okay, you know what? Maybe I'd rather something that's a little more steady as opposed to something with those really high highs and really low lows, right? So that could be what you guys are hoping for, and possibly even just hoping for the ability to like leave it to a higher power, right? Whatever you believe in that regard. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Two of Pentacles. So Capricorn energy here, and Won't focus. But yeah, what I get with this really could just be saying that leaving the month, you might still feel a little bit undecided on what to do, right? I feel like you might narrow your options down at the very least, but you still might be caught between two things. And some of this is natural, right? Like we said, you guys are experiencing Mercury retrograde. It started in your sign, then went to your 12th house, which could already be a bit of a foggy energy. And yes, it will be clearing its shadow period and everything as we move through October, but that's going to be closer to the end of October when that finally happens. And then the next thing you know, you're actually going to have an eclipse in Scorpio, which is your second house of finances. So, it definitely be a little bit of shaky energy there for a bit, but I feel like it will actually help you see things a little bit more clearly in the process. So it's just going to be a matter of getting there, right? So, in that regard, the Two of Pentacles here could be a positive, saying that, okay, at least you're narrowing things down compared to the Seven of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, right? So, yeah, could just be one of those things that might feel like a bit of a bumpy ride. All right, and at the bottom of the deck, we have the High Priestess. So, this could just be saying to try to rely on your intuition a little bit, right? So, like I said, at the time of recording this, actually, we're having Mercury in your 12th house. So, 12th house energy is often what I think of when I see this card. So, it could just be one of those things where if you really just take a little bit of time to listen, right? Similar to what we see with the Four of Swords there, I feel like the idea will come to you, right? You'll get the clarity around the situation. And interestingly enough, beneath that, we see the Ten of Pentacles, too. So yeah, could just be saying that really just try to tap into your intuition, right? And that would be a good way to use this Mercury retrograde to your advantage, to really tap into your intuition, and that might actually give you the key to, hey, how do I get to that Ten of Pentacles, right? As opposed to that Seven of Pentacles energy, which at the very least looks more uncomfortable than the Ten of Pentacles, right? All right, so moving on to your Four Agreements card, we have Don't Take Anything Personally. It says, see other people as they are. Okay, it says, when you see other people as they are without taking it personally, you can never be hurt by what they say or do. Even if others lie to you, it is okay. They are lying to you because they are afraid you will discover that they are not perfect. So yeah, definitely a pretty positive message there. Especially, like I said, we are still technically dealing with the retrograde energy, so you might come across things where people might not be presenting themselves in the most authentic way at the time. Or at the very least, even if they are, they might intend to present themselves authentically, but there could be cross signals with the communication. All right, moving on to your Wisdom Oracle card, we have All That Glitters. There's the artwork and the number 16. So let's see what this has to say. Okay. Essential meaning says a need to see beyond the superficial, the desire to don a mask or dress something up to disguise its true nature, trying to be something you're not, chasing after every sparkly new thing, being mercurial. The Oracle's message: it's only human to want to adorn oneself in trinkets and paint a pretty picture of oneself. It's natural to want to acquire the trappings of status or to deny them as a statement of rebellion. But if it sparkles, is it better? Whether it's a fast car, a big house, a title or position, the stamp of authority, or the sparkling of diamonds, these icons let you know something about a person, place, or thing. Or do they? The truth is that people seek to acquire things because of what they will do for them, and how they symbolically will elevate them and make them more attractive. This card signals that it's time to see beyond the adornments and probe underneath the surface. Learn to recognize the mask people wear and the motives underlying them. Imagine that all the glitter is gone. Would you still desire the object or person? So yeah, definitely a pretty positive message there, as far as it does seem to fit the general theme of what we were talking about in the main spread pretty well. So hopefully that gave you some additional insight around the situation. The relationship message says, sometimes we try to become something we're not to impress others. We embellish a story a bit, adding some dramatic elements to make us more appealing. The real person becomes hidden behind the sparkle and shine. Then there are times when we don't see the true value of someone else because he or she may not have the glitz and glamour that seems so desirable. Now is the time to look past the surface, beyond the mask, to the essence of a person. Who that person is, not what he or she has or can give you, is important. See beyond the glitter and look for the inner glow. Use the eyes in your heart. Let go of artifice and let what is authentic shine. So, pretty positive message there as well. I mean, this didn't really jump out like a romantic relationship type energy with the spread, but hopefully it resonated with you either way. The prosperity message says sometimes an opportunity looks so good that it glitters like gold and you just can't resist it, especially when it appears others are doing so well and have hit the motherlode. During the American gold rush, everyone hurried west to find their fortune and then deserted entire towns after the mining depleted the gold veins in the earth. So, too, can you deplete yourself as you chase after the latest shiny thing that has caught your eye. There is a mercurial quality to your present circumstances. Pay no attention to those who chase after fool's gold. Resist the temptation to be jealous of others. What they have achieved may not be the true success you seek, so don't compare yourself to them. You see only the surface right now, only the sparkle. Be assured that be assured that you will experience your own shining moment if you stick to what you know. All that glitters may not be gold for you. So yeah, pretty positive message there as well. And that makes me think of what we were talking about a bit with the Knight of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles energy, right? How maybe something's presented one way initially, but then you see the ugly side of it as well. All right. And lastly, we have a Mudra for you guys. So this is your Mudra here, Chonmukha Mukha Mudra, and the keyword for it is cooperation. And a lot of info on the card here. So, well, first let's get it to focus. All right, there we go. And let's see. So, put that part up if you guys want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say, and then I'll get the rest of the stuff in the frame. All right, so under benefits, it says calms the mind, ignites feelings of devotion, balances solar and lunar energies and body, harmonizes Apana and Prana values, used in yoga therapy to aid cancer treatment and healing of autoimmune diseases. So if that sounds like a movie you think would be beneficial for you guys, I'll put the name in the description of the video as always. Once again, happy birthday, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.